Welcome, wrestling fans. Welcome to Curtain Jerkin. As always, I am your host, Jacob Grondy, reporting for the Main Event Marks YouTube channel and the Dragon Suplex Podcasting Network. I say it every week, but I'm going to say it again this week, guys. God damn, do I love pro wrestling. I'm going to get into exactly why I love pro wrestling in a little bit. It has a lot to do with AEW Dynamite, but before I talk about AEW Dynamite, of course, I'm going to run down what we're talking about. We're going to be talking about ROH. We're going to be talking about Shibata. We're going to be talking about Kevin Owens. We're going to be talking about Jake Paul. We're going to be talking about everything that has to do with pro wrestling. And this week, the week before the week of Christmas, this is a big thing. I think Christmas came early. Christmas is going to come early on December 22nd when I go to AEW Dynamite in Greensboro, North Carolina, the place where I kind of fell in love with, pro wrestling, the place where I first saw WCW, the place where I went to, Unforgiven 98, Survivor Series 2001, multiple Raws, multiple SmackDowns, will be the moment where I see my two favorite wrestlers of all time, CM Punk and Sting, team up together. This is a big fucking deal for me. But before I really go into Dynamite and dissect the amazing Dynamite, probably my favorite Dynamite ever, until next week maybe, we got to talk about Rampage. We're going to be just going over a little bit of Rampage here. Lucha Bros versus FTR. Great, solid match. Banger of a match. Lucha Bros versus Young Bucks is my tag match of the year. But Lucha Bros versus FTR is my feud of the year. I love seeing them go to AAA, defend the AAA titles. I love them, wrestling on Dynamite and AEW, with the Lucha Bros defending the AEW Championship. I just love this feud, and it was a great match. Lucha Bros do win with that double stomp package piledriver combination they do. 1, 2, 3. Ty Conti, Anna Jay, Ruby Soho versus Nyla Rose, Bunny, and Penelope Ford. AEW has done a great job building this women's division. I say going into 2021, that was their biggest critique, was their women's division sucked. This year, they've really stepped it up, and I kind of created a hierarchy. Like, you got the undercard, you have the the mid card, and you have the upper echelon. And this match showcased that mid card. I feel like lots of underrated wrestlers here, lots of ladies that are easy to kind of look at here, which was kind of a critique from last year. Traditional North American, like diva-esque, Attitude Era style ladies here. Nyla does win with the Beast Bomb. Sting and Darby get jumped by FTR in the back. I even wrote it down. I hope this means that FTR versus Sting and Darby happened in Greensboro. Little did I know it was going to be a 6-man tag. This is amazing stuff. I'm going to just be marking out over that tag match throughout the whole episode here. A lot of people on Long Island marked out over the Hook debut. A lot of people on Twitter marked out over the Hook debut. It was a fun match, don't get me wrong. I think a lot of people are just having fun hyping Hook up. I am too. Hook MVP of the year. Gave it to him, the Tokyo Sports Awards. I think he should have been ahead of Shingo in that competition there. Yuta versus Cole in the main event. You gotta love the split screen. I think I like the split screen more than the match, but the match was pretty good. Yuta holding his own against Adam Cole, but couldn't put him away. Goes for the big cross body. Cole gets his knees up and then hits a running knee. 1, 2, 3. And then the Elite jumps best friends after the match. Don't get me wrong, I do like Cole. I like the Young Bucks bell to bell, but something just bores the shit out of me about this faction without Kenny Omega. It's like it's an NWO full of X-Pacs. And don't get me wrong, I do like X-Pac as well, but you kind of need a little bit more flavor than just 3 X-Pacs running around kissing each other, giving everyone, running knees and super kicks. It's not, there's something stale about it, and I think they're doing what they did to originally get him over in the Indies, but the thing is they were originally doing that in like 2014, so it's like a good 7-8 years of them doing that, and anyone doing the same thing for 7, 8 years is going to get a little stale. Like, I mean, I guess you could say like Jeff Hardy did what he was doing 8 years ago, but in the middle of that, Jeff Hardy did a lot of cool stuff with, the broken gimmick in TNA and stuff. So, or maybe Randy Orton, but even Randy Orton is kind of, with Riddle and everything taking a backseat to the Riddle comedy. So I think just the Young Bucks and Cole is just super stale to me. And I'm not really too into it as much as I'm into a lot of other stuff that's happening in AEW. Before I run down all the matches from AEW Dynamite from worst to first, I did think there was a very cool Malachi Black video package. The house always wins, spitting the black mist into the face of this unknown cloaked being. Of course, last week on Dynamite, he spit the black mist into the what's her name? Jessie Hart or something like that. Something Hart, but she's not a part of the Hart family, but she is a part of the Varsity Blondes. Varsity Blondes were with Tony Schiavone. Griff Garrison was pissed, and he challenged Malachi Black in Greensboro, North Carolina, which is super cool because Griff Garrison is a wrestler that I saw like come of age in Greensboro, North Carolina, wrestling at small bars, wrestling at Firestar Pro Wrestling Academy in front of literally like 10 people, and here he is going to wrestle in the Greensboro Coliseum. Guilford College's own here, about to get his ass kicked by Malachi Black next week. MJF cutting a great promo as always, saying that Texas was anti-education and pro-incest. So that was a hilarious line. And then after he wins the match, spoiler alert, he wins the match. Lights go out. Sting and Darby show up. They run roughshod on FTR and MJF until the numbers advantage does swing in the favor of the Pinnacle. CM Punk comes out. Crowd goes apeshit. 6-man tag next week. I can't believe it. My two favorite wrestlers all time teaming up, and I'm going to be able to attend this, my first AEW Dynamite ever. I'm marking out. I'm just not even being a good journalist podcast host at this moment. I'm just literally just hyping my own self up. I got to work. It's going to be the longest day of work ever next week, next Wednesday. But I'm going to get through it. And then I'm going to just probably hopefully not speed. I'm going to set my shit on cruise control, get there right around 6:30, get in, use the bathroom. I'm not going to be drinking beer. I'm not going to be getting snacks. I'm going to sit my ass down and cheer for AEW Dynamite. I wonder if it's going to be the same without hearing Excalibur, Tony Schiavone, and Taz on commentary, but I think it's going to be a really, really fun night. I literally just bought one ticket for myself right there, section 125, so right there facing the ring. I'm stoked. Look for me on TV, on TNT. I think it's the second to last AEW Dynamite that's ever going to be on TNT, which is amazing stuff here. I'm in disbelief. I'm also kind of in disbelief that Ring of Honor is coming to an end. We had Final Battle 2021 over the weekend, and it was newsworthy, don't get me wrong. The matches were great. I have every match ranked from... But I do think I'm getting a little ahead of myself because I haven't given you all the matches ranked for AEW Dynamite. Number 4 out of 4... Matt Sydal versus Wardlow. Powerbomb City from Wardlow. Spears gets on the mic, begs Wardlow to stop. Texas wants Wardlow to keep going. 1, 2, 3. Wardlow wins, beats Matt Sydal. Number 3 out of 4, but it's still a great match. Serena D versus Hikaru Shida. Deeb knocks Shida off the apron before the bell, going after Shida's leg throughout the whole match, even pulling the old school Bret Hart maneuver with a figure 4 around the post, locking her up when they were on top of the turnbuckle. Shida really hurting here. Jackknife roll up though. 1, 2, 3. Shida steals one from Deeb in the rubber match. Number 2 out of 4. MJF versus Dante Martin. This match, I didn't think it was going to beat Deeb versus Shida. Deeb versus Shida was pretty good in my opinion. But Dante Martin just going insane here, just kind of highly entertaining. Goes for like a Rolling Thunder 450, I guess you would call it. Almost kills MJF. Lands with his knees toward MJF's face, kind of like Alexa Bliss and Kota Ibushi do that one move where they do kind of like a moonsault with their knees, standing moonsault with their knees. But this was like a rolling thunder like RVD used to do. But instead of popping up into a frog splash, she pops up like twice as high as RVD does, goes for a 450, but just, I think, maybe over rotates or under rotates. Anyways, his knees just land right on MJF's like chest, neck, almost face. I think he kind of jerked his head back so he didn't get hit in the face, but it looked insane. More entertaining than skillful here. MJF does push Dante off the turnbuckle so he falls face first onto the barricade. Rimsberg catches MJF's foot on the ropes here. I thought that was a nice little touch. And then Roman Reigns eat your heart out. Dante Martin goes for a huge just running crossbody over the top rope, just like kind of like Roman Reigns does, like Undertaker has done in the past. But he was literally like 3 times as high as those athletes. And then not to outdo himself, does a Fosbury flop, then jumps on top of the top rope, hits a shooting star. I would call it an overshooting star because he overshot MJF, where like Dante's knees hit like MJF's shoulder, kind of connect with his shoulder, but his face just smacked the bottom of the rampway area. I'm like, is his face fucked? What's going on here? And he pops up, gives a big yell. Texas is like, woo, he's okay, he's not dead. And they get back in the ring. MJF goes for a pin. Dante goes for a pin. Tick for tack. They're going back and forth. No man can put the other away. Dante gets a pin, 1-2, but then Starks puts MJF's foot on the rope. Ricky Starks, a member of Team Taz. Dante Martin, not affiliated with Team Taz anymore. And, they're a little butthurt about it. And then all of a sudden, Salt of the Earth, MJF taps out Dante Martin to win the Dynamite Diamond Ring for a 3rd time. I mean, at this point, it's just got to be MJF's ring. 3 times in a row, like, it's going to look really weird. It would look really weird on Dante Martin. It would give him a little bit of personality, don't get me wrong, but, I mean, what is someone going to do with that ring who's not MJF? If they put it on another heel at this point, it's just going to look like they're copying him, and it's not really a face gimmick. So, I mean, next year, why not just give that Dynamite Diamond ring to MJF? It's his fucking ring for eternity, as far as I'm concerned. And those were, 4, 3, and 2 out of the 4 matches. But I'm not going to lie, guys, it was really like they were like 16, 15, and 14. And then there's just a big, big gap until you get to number 1. Because literally we saw match of the year kick off AEW Dynamite as a vehicle is getting towed outside my apartment. We're hearing the tow truck getting backed up, and I bet you need to back up the Brinks truck because this match was freaking money. Bryan Danielson versus Hangman Page for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Danielson very arrogantly keeping a slow pace in the early going here and doing his best to piss off Hangman, kind of playing a little bit of mind games, and then goes after the legs and lower back at Hangman, referee counting. And then he hits it with the I have till 5 referee, the classic Danielson line from all the way back in his ROH days. I popped huge. Crowd behind Hangman counting along with his punches, his 10 exact punches. Old school move here. But Danielson stays on him. Fall away slam, kip up. As Hangman Page gets on his feet, the crowd gets on their feet too. This was pretty cool. Suicide dive, split chance. Hangman Page goes for a moonsault, no one home. Danielson goes for a pin, 1-2. Hangman kicks out, running drop kicks over and over again. Pop-up, only get countered by a pop-up powerbomb from Hangman Page, 1-2. Danielson kicks out. Crowd on their feet again here. Danielson just pushes Hangman off the top to where he falls back first on the hardest part of the ring, the apron, and then Danielson just keeps shoving Hangman Page face first into the post. Hangman bleeding, Champ's bleeding everywhere. Danielson just kind of gloating and doing, jumping jacks in the ring as the ref checks on the champion. Flying knee off the apron from Danielson. Let's go, Hangman. Let's go, Brian. The dueling chants pick up momentum. Champ in trouble. Yes kicks on the apron. And then Champ jumps down. A yes kick hits the post. And that's when Hangman wisely goes for a figure four, attacking the leg that just got hurt by the post. Pile driver, 1-2. Danielson kicks out. This is awesome. Chants fill the Texas air. Flying knee, shoulder capture suplex, 1-2. Hangman kicks out. Danielson, that arrogance that he had at the beginning of the match is turning just to frustration now. Huge dive by Hangman, but Brian dodges it. Hangman goes through a table. Danielson exposes the concrete, lifts up the mat, delivers the DDT to the champion, gets him back in the ring. Hangman hits the German. Both men down again. Hangman reverses or counters a Northern Lights suplex off the top by landing on his feet. Danielson turns around, gets hit with a lariat. Strike battle, 55-minute mark, and that's when I'm like, this is going the distance. Deadeye, connects it, 1-2. Danielson kicks out. I thought at the 55-minute mark it was going the distance, but then when he hits the Deadeye, I completely forgot about my fantasy booking brain or my rationality. I'm completely hooked into this match. I thought when the Deadeye connected, it was over. 1-2. Danielson kicks out. Hangman just stays on him. He doesn't know what to do at this point. You see the desperation on his face. Buckshot gets countered by the label lock. Champ in trouble. 1 minute remains. The champ hits Danielson with a slingshot. Danielson looks like he's going over. Shawn Michaels 96s himself back in, skins the cat, turns around, only to get hit with a lariat. Hangman hits a buckshot lariat, but the bell sounds. Time is up. This was the number one match on Dynamite. This was the number one match of 2021. The best wrestler of 2021 is Bryan Danielson. Not only did he main event WrestleMania, but he had the best two matches, I would say, all year in the Omega match and then this match. All due respect to Shingo, all due respect to Okada, all due respect to Roman Reigns, all due respect to Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, whatever you want to call him, you got to give him that award. He is the wrestler of the year. I don't give a hoot or a holler what you guys think of the PWI 500 and all of that nonsense. The man of the year, the wrestler of the year is Bryan Danielson, and he proved it tonight. Holy hell. Winter is coming. Whatever you want to call this AEW Dynamite. It was my favorite AEW Dynamite all time. It was great. A 1 hour long spectacle. 2 solid matches out of 3 bangers in the second hour. And then the announcement that Sting will tag with Darby Allin and CM Punk, my two favorite wrestlers of all time, tagging in the Greensboro Coliseum, a Coliseum near and dear to my heart. At a Dynamite I will go to, my first Dynamite ever. I'm pretty fucking excited, as I've already explained to you guys, and I will go right into what I kind of segued into earlier, forgetting where I was out of the excitement for that 6-man tag next week. And that's Ring of Honor Final Battle 2021. They called it the end of an era because they do already have a building booked for WrestleMania weekend in April in Texas. But it really is, kind of wrapping up Ring of Honor as we know it. Ring of Honor will not have contracted wrestlers. I don't think they will have a weekly TV show anymore. I don't really know what's going to happen with Ring of Honor. No one really knows. We're seeing the Briscoes in GCW. We're seeing Jay Lethal in AEW. If that's not an indicator that ROH is not going to be how we've seen it for years, I don't know what is. Lethal and the Briscoes were three guys that I thought were synonymous with Ring of Honor, would never leave Ring of Honor. Here they are, champions or competing in other companies full time. The ranking of Final Battle, the Trios Ladies Tag, the 6-man tag titles is number 10. The 10-man tag is number 9 out of 11. The TV title, number 8. Women's Championship match, number 7. Pure title, number 6. Violence Unlimited versus Williams, Isom, Rust, and Rockies, number 5. Dragon Lee versus Ray Horus is number 4. King and Taylor, number 3. I got to go into this match a little bit here, because this match was getting a lot of shit online for that one clip of them battling, on the ladder as the ladder was between the barricade and the ring. But it makes sense that Shane Taylor would just tell some ring crew guys, hey, get over here and hold this shit. These guys killed themselves in this match. This was an amazing contest. I was ready to shit on the match after I saw that clip. And then in the body of the match, the clip makes a lot of sense. And that clip ends right before you see a very nasty package pile driver from Taylor delivered to King. And, ladder matches in Ring of Honor have always been great. I mean, you go back to El Generico and Steen versus the Briscoes. You go to Steen and Generico. You go to the Hardys versus the Bucks. And this match I would put right up there with all those great classic matches. And don't judge a match by the GIF. That's what this match taught me. Go back and watch this match. Watch the full match, bell to bell. Watch the whole spectacle of it. I go back to WrestleMania 19 where Brock hit that shooting star and kind of missed. And it was like a botch, but the botch kind of added to the spectacle of the match, added to the legacy of the match. And I feel like that little moment where he kind of needed a little help from the ring crew, if you watch the body of the match, it's kind of like that. It kind of just added to the legacy. Like he's like, hey, get the fuck over here, you young boys. Hold this shit while I whoop his ass. And I mean, they did. I mean, it makes sense that a former champion like Shane Taylor would just boss around these people. It makes sense for his character. So I think a lot of people need to watch the match and not watch the GIF. You know what I mean? Or if you see a GIF, preface, I've not seen this match, but this GIF makes this match look bad. Don't just completely shit on all of modern wrestling because of one little GIF. I mean, Jesus Christ. But number 2 out of 11, Lethal versus Gresham, the World Championship match. It was supposed to be Bandito. Bandito got COVID, so it was Gresham versus Lethal. What a great match. Gresham wins the original World Championship match, or World Championship title at Final Battle. But it was not the best match at Final Battle. Briscoes versus OGK was my favorite match. While you're watching the King and Taylor match, just fast forward a little bit and watch the Briscoes versus OGK. What a fucking banger. You almost forget about how good this show was because how good Dynamite was, and then you kind of just get wrapped up in how good wrestling is at the moment. 2021 is the year that wrestling really peaked. I mean, 2019 was awesome. 2020 kind of plateaued a little bit with the pandemic, but then 2021, it just kind of ramped up. It's all new levels right now. You got WWE touring again. You got AEW touring again. You have a really great end of the year extravaganza from ROH. And that leads into all these uncertainties with what's going to happen with all these guys going into 2022. And I feel like 2022 is going to be even better because you got borders opening up with Japan. You got borders opening up in the UK. You got borders opening up in Mexico. So all these free agents are going to just travel around and do what they do best, which is fucking wrestle. I'm going to go into a little bit more of what happened between the matches on Ring of Honor. The announcers kind of putting over the fans, mentioning fans, long-term fans of Ring of Honor, which I thought was pretty cool. And At the beginning, there was a Briscoes video package promo talking about their history with Ring of Honor. I thought it was pretty short. That should have gone a little longer, in my opinion. Danhausen on commentary was a nice little touch. He's injured, but he was a big part of Ring of Honor this past year. Eddie Edwards shout-outs, Hangman Page shout-outs, Jamie Jacobs shout-outs, CM Punk shout-outs, just all putting over Ring of Honor. And then you kind of realize how much history Ring of Honor has. It came to be at a time in wrestling where like WCW was going under, ECW was going under, TNA really hadn't started that much yet, and then here was this thing, Ring of Honor, Low Key, Amazing Red, Bryan Danielson. I mean, I think Eddie Guerrero even showed up at the early days. You even had appearances from Dusty Rhodes in the early days. The early days of Ring of Honor is not talked about as much as it should be, and I feel like this era of Ring of Honor, the post AEW starting Ring of Honor, is also something that should be talked about a little bit. Deonna Purrazzo showing up with the AAA Women's title, challenging Roxy after her match, and I think that match is going to take place in Impact. So the AAA champion versus the Ring of Honor champion in Impact. This is great. This is great shit. Deonna Purrazzo, I mean, if she's not the female pro wrestler of the year, in your opinion, I'd like to hear who, and it probably means you know a little bit more about Japanese women's wrestling than I do, but I would give it to Deonna Purrazzo as far as North American women's wrestler of the year. Adam Cole shout out. EC3 grabs the mic after his big match while Olsen is in the ring. I thought he was just going to put over Olsen, but then Wesley Blake and some other guys show up, and he's cutting this promo about controlling the narrative, and then he just says, "Release the Titan." And then none other than Braun freaking Strowman shows up. Ian Riccaboni freaking out, calling him, I guess, his real name, or calling him whatever name he wants to call. But come on, it was Braun Strowman. Shows up, rips his shirt, beats the fuck out of everyone in the ring. And I guess we have a new faction that formed the last night of Ring of Honor. But they do have that arena booked in April. So I'm thinking Gresham versus Bandito, Briscoes versus Hardys, and then you have this new faction where Braun Strowman will go over, and you can set all that up on the internet. You really don't need a Ring of Honor show to hype up a supercard that they could put together. And when I say supercard, I mean Supercard of Honor is what it's traditionally called. So I think that's pretty cool. Young Bucks shout-outs. Then the Briscoes are cutting a promo after their match, and FTR show up. This Briscoes versus FTR match, I don't think can wait till April. They're brawling. They're talking shit on Twitter. I think this has got to... I mean, this could be settled in AAA. This could be settled in GCW. This could be settled in AEW. I don't know where they could put the match together, but they're going to have to put this match together. FTR tag team feud of the year, in my opinion, just like I just said with the Lucha Brothers, and it looks like they might go into tag team feud of the year 2022 already set in place with the Briscoes. Danielson gives a shout out. Just an amazing show. An amazing show. Final Battle 2021. It lived up for the hype. I was listening to an interview with Mike Bennett on Busted Open Radio, where he said, we got what we wanted. We got all the eyes of the wrestling world watching us, but it's bittersweet because the next day there's nothing. And that really was a great way to kind of put the poetic tragedy in place that was Final Battle 2021. I mean, goddamn. I mean, Ring of Honor, hopefully they get their shit together in 2022. That would be the comeback story of the year. I'm a Panthers fan, as some of you know, and it was really cool to see Cam Newton come back. I think that was the comeback story of the year as far as the NFL, even though he only won one game so far. But I think hopefully the comeback story of the year will be Ring of Honor in 2022. They're owned by Sinclair Broadcasting, and I think Sinclair Broadcasting, if you're looking at the way that UFC does shows, if you're looking at just like all the free agents out there in the world of pro wrestling, these big super shows might be a great way to get more eyes on it. You might not need a weekly program week to week to hype up stories. Look at GCW. They're gaining much more momentum in 2021 comparatively to Ring of Honor, and they don't have a TV show. So maybe you can just hype up your shit on the internet and set up these big supercard spectacles with all these free agents. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm fantasy booking at this point. But let's just go into a little bit of some more news. Next week, I'm going to be talking about Jake Paul versus Tyrone Woodley 2. Of course, you guys know I love Jake Paul, or I love the spectacle of what Jake Paul brings, but I do feel like his stock is falling down in the world of celebrity boxing. The fight was a big deal. Apparently, last time, allegedly, it was exposed that Tyrone Woodley could not knock out Jake Paul. It was in the contract. He could not knock him out. That's insane to me. But this time, it's not in the contract. It's pretty much a fair fight. This time, it's real. This time, it's not predetermined. And I think that what needs to happen is Jake Paul needs to get knocked out, because I don't think going into 2022 you're going to have a lot of interest with Jake Paul fighting. I think before, people were kind of annoyed with him and wanted to see if he was going to get knocked out. They were interested to see if he was going to get knocked out. And it seems like the more legit Jake Paul can make himself, the more people kind of lose interest. The more people just kind of go away. X-Pac heat, if you will, is what it's called, which is unfair, but that is what it's called. So I think to really cash in, they got to cash in now. They got to put in their chips now. They got to let Tyrone Woodley beat Jake Paul for everybody. I'm a fan of Jake Paul. I'm a fan of Tyrone Woodley, but I think this ship has sailed. They're not even with Triller anymore. I feel like when Jake Paul left Triller to go to Showtime Boxing, we were like, that's the end of Triller. But now you're seeing 3-6 Mafia and Bone Thugs and Harmony get on a fight on Triller. Metallica just signed on as part owners of Triller. So, they're going to be doing these, they're going to be having celebrity boxing open up for Metallica concerts. So, I feel like Triller kind of jumped Jake Paul, which is something that I didn't see happening when Jake Paul left Triller, which is a perfect time for Jake Paul to kind of just, I guess, of course, if you're Jake Paul, you don't want to lose, but I feel like for the brand and the marketing of Jake Paul, cashing your chips, get on out of there. Tyrone Woodley, hit him with a 2-piece, leave him laying, and do it for Dude Wipes. I know Dude Wipes is a Tyrone Woodley sponsor, and I'm a big fan of Dude Wipes as well. Kevin Owens re-signed with the WWE. People thought he was going to go to AEW, but like we're seeing with Adam Cole, like we're seeing with Andrade, like we're seeing with a few other talents in AEW, Jay Lethal, they're filling up quick in AEW. There's not a lot of spots available. I feel like there's more spots in WWE, and there's more money in WWE. So this was a good signing, in my opinion. It's going to make WWE a little more interesting. And I didn't really want to see Kevin Owens get lost in the shuffle in AEW. And Shibata announced he will be wrestling on January 4th for Wrestle Kingdom. This is going to be amazing. I'm super excited about Shibata. 2016 Shibata versus Okada is one of my favorite matches of all time. Unfortunately, it is a little bit of a poetic tragedy, because that is the match that paralyzed Shibata. He literally had a whole side of his body paralyzed, and while this was happening, he was like cutting promos that I was hearing translated by Chris Charlton on I think it wasn't post wrestling, it was live audio wrestling at the time, but what later became post wrestling. It was being transcribed, and he was pretty much talking about how, like, I can't move the right side of my body, but I will wrestle again. And now he was the coach of the LA Dojo. We saw him wrestle a little bit in the G1 finals in a 5-minute exhibition with Zack Sabre Jr. And then he comes out in the Best of the Super Junior finals and announces he will wrestle a sanctioned match on the biggest show of New Japan every year, the first show of the year, God damn, this is awesome. This is a great week in wrestling. We got the hype of the Jake Paul fight. We got Shibata coming back. We had a 1 hour long spectacle, and we also got the news that CM Punk will tag with Sting in the Greensboro Coliseum. God damn, do I love pro wrestling. God damn, do I love anyone that's listening. Man, oh man, I'm a happy camper today, guys. Fly high. I'm out.